Morning all and welcome to your Club 2020 Daily. Well, there's a new football season about to get underway, but like the last few diehards still out there partying while the rest of us have to go off to work, there are 6 men's European clubs still out in Europe, literally in their cups. Tonight in the Champions League semi-finals, it'll be Leipzig and PSG looking to keep their party going. Last night in the Europa League, it was Inter who managed to get in one more round, booking themselves a place in the final with Seville.
Russia's got a big chance. Penalty. Sensational penalty. And Suso equalises. Sevilla, the specialists in the Europa League, are into another final. Inter, the fallen giants, Shakhtar, well worth watching. There comes Martinez, that's 1-0. Martinez, he's trying to lob the goalkeeper. And it's 2-0. And Inter running away with this now. Inter will be trying to lift their first trophy in 9 years on Friday night against Sevilla.
That's absolutely right, Ian. Dark Friday's Europa League final will be Sevilla, who put out Man United on Sunday, against the Nerazzurri, who walloped Shakhtar Donetsk 5-0 last night. The biggest semi-final win this tournament has ever seen. Tonight, the attention focuses back on Lisbon for the Champions League semi-finals. Leipzig taking on Paris Saint-Germain, and then tomorrow, Lyon against Bayern Munich. Oof. 2 French sides in the semi-finals, and look, we're joined by one of the biggest French football experts around, Julien Laurens of Tele Monte Carlo and ESPN, and a big fan of PSG as well, but he doesn't like to talk about that. Jules, lovely to have you here on the show. Are they excited about the 2 French sides in the semi-finals?
They are very excited indeed. I think there's a bit of tension and pressure because you want them to do well now in the semi-final. You've gone that far and you're so close to the final. There will be 2 tough games, and it's this French-German rivalry as well, which is or partnership or relationship, whatever, political, socially, in football as well, if you go back to big tournaments as well.
Yeah, but in football terms, it's rivalry. We're going to talk a lot about Leipzig against PSG. And we'll touch maybe on the Lyon-Bayern game as well. But just quickly, there's another bit of breaking news that's happening in France at the moment. The French Ligue 1 season was meant to be starting this Friday with Marseille against Saint-Etienne, but that game's been postponed, Jules.
It's been postponed indeed, James, because Marseille have 4 players who tested positive for coronavirus, for COVID-19, which meant obviously the game had to be postponed. They've got strict rules, and the protocol is quite strict now in France and in Ligue 1 for this restart. Let's not forget that we didn't restart our season back in June like everybody else. So there was a lot of hope and optimism that we could be the first one to go back this summer in August, and then it's not going to happen like that. So far the games on Saturday will happen, but Friday night clash between 2 big rivals, Marseille and Saint-Etienne, has been postponed. OK, so 4 positives there at Marseille, but how real is the risk that there might be other clubs who have similar outbreaks? It's quite high, James. Strasbourg had 9 cases at some point only a couple of weeks ago, and Montpellier as well. Nantes had 5 cases, so it's been quite important and really a bit disturbing, to be fair, despite all the rules and all the checks that clubs have been doing, and the league as well. He hasn't really gone the way that the French League and the French Federation wanted. All
right, well, fingers crossed everything gets sorted out over there and all the players recover nice and safely. A quick look at what the English sports back pages are saying this Tuesday, the 18th of August. Let's have a look. Here's the Eye. Has cruising into the final. Lukaku there roaring away last night in Dusseldorf. Lukaku strikes late double as Conte's men eased Cologne clash with Sevilla. Elsewhere, The Guardian has the big news about Barcelona turning to Ronald Koeman in Arab need. Gets a little column there alongside some business about the cricket. That deal by no means confirmed yet. They are in Amsterdam talking with Koeman, who's currently, of course, still the Netherlands manager. Mirror, meanwhile, goes for a rather different story, a Premier League one, really. Anfield wrap, the headline, following Jurgen Klopp's comments that he's going to take a year out when his deal with Liverpool ends in 2024. And if he doesn't miss football, then that'll be the end of Jurgen Klopp manager. We've heard managers say that kind of thing before. We shall see. Jurgen Klopp, of course, currently out in the Austrian Alps with Liverpool, because that's where they're doing their pre-season, which got underway a couple of days ago. And indeed, from that locale, very, very shortly, we'll be hearing from Andy Robertson, who we had a chat with a while ago. Now, all that to come, but we're going to start today with last night's events between Inter and Shakhtar Donetsk. The 5-0 win, the biggest win that this tournament has ever seen, this Europa League or UEFA Cup, whatever you want to call it, in the semi-final. It's actually the biggest European semi-final win in any tournament since Saki's Milan did Real Madrid 5-0 back in 1989. Jules, how impressed were you?
They were so impressive collectively and individually as well, tactically, technically, everything this Inter Milan did last night. And Shakhtar are a really good side. You know, you couldn't take this kind of win for granted, but Lautaro Martinez was outstanding and so was Romelu Lukaku. But I just think it's the power they had, as we see on this great goal by the Belgian striker. But again, the way they set up, the way they pressed, how aggressive they were. It was just almost a perfect game from Inter, and you rarely seen those kind of performances so late in a big competition like this, in a semi-final, and that's why it's never been done before.
Right. I mean, every league has a team that's known for being really flaky. I'm sure everyone has their own opinion on who that might be in the Premier League, for example. But in Italy, no question, it's Inter. So many times they managed to snatch disaster from the jaws of triumph. They're known as Pazza Inter, Crazy Inter. This is the most composed, the most clinical that I can remember seeing them.
Yes, you're right. I think the formation and the players know exactly what they have to do. Everybody pretty much plays at their best now. And if you think that they also have players missing, like Sensi in midfield, for example, players who could actually have brought something even more to this team, is quite crazy. And then you go back of thinking of the Serie A season, and you can only think of the regrets that Antonio Conte and his players can have right now, because I think Juve were there for the taking. And I think Inter lost the title more than Juve won it, really. OK, well, in the meantime, there's a chance for European glory, which is the one thing that Conte's missing from his CV. Brilliant night once again from Romelu Lukaku, who's been the success story of their season. He's now up to, 10 straight games that he's scored in the Europa League. You can see there, 10 straight games. That's extending his record in that competition. It dates back to his time with Everton. He scored 14 goals in those 10 matches. He's also now just one goal off the Inter record for goals for a debut season, which dates back to 1998 and was set by the Brazilian Ronaldo. So impressive stuff. Above all, he's got Inter in with a chance of getting some European glory. And after the game yesterday, he spoke to Darryl Curry. We're missing you out there in the Club 2020 Champions League finals. Have you been able to follow the tournament much?
Yeah, we've been watching it. We've been watching it, most nights. Look, it's a bit hard. We wish we were over there with you and still competing for the Champions League. We've done so well in it in the last couple of years, but this year wasn't our year. And I suppose we get to sit back and enjoy watching a Champions League now instead of us being involved in it, seeing who we're going to play against.
You've seen it all at your level, Andy, and you've won it all as well. But when you're watching this year's Champions League, for example, does it still happen that something will absolutely stun you, like it would the rest of us? Yeah, look, as footballers, we love seeing other footballers doing incredible stuff, and there's been a lot in that in show, to be fair, and there's been maybe a couple of underdogs getting further than they maybe usually would. Yeah. Can I ask you, has there been anything in particular that has blown you away? I was thinking of maybe Alphonso Davies the other night against Barcelona. Yeah, that was don't be expecting me to do that any time in a hurry. So no, that was just incredible. He probably just took 5 or 6 of them out of the game with one passage of play. So a phenomenal player, somebody I enjoy watching, and I think the whole world's enjoying watching them at the minute, and I'm no different. Yeah, left backs are becoming the kind of new rock stars of football. Who would be, present company accepted, in your opinion, the best 3 left backs in the world? I think Alphonso Davies is already world class, but he can only get better. Ben Chilwell I love watching in the Premier League. Then I would say Jordi Alba, the more experienced one of the 3, I would say. Maybe coming near the end of his career, but what a career he's had, and he really. Him and Marcelo probably took left backs to a whole new level. Oh, great stuff! Winning the title after 3 decades. You've actually written a book about this. Look, I think I don't think I'm interested enough to write a book about myself. So I thought I'd write about the season that we had. It was an incredible season.
I've read the draft of it. I thought it was a good read, but I'm going to be biased. So hopefully the people like it. I've set up my own charity in Scotland, and the proceeds are going towards helping set that up and helping underprivileged kids.
All right, it's out from September 17th. Sounds fascinating. It starts, I believe, the day after you won the Champions League final, which is a slight pity because I'd love to see a chapter or two on A, that, and B, the second leg of the semi-final against Barcelona, which is one of the most extraordinary things any of us have ever seen. I'd really like to hear about your night there, how much you enjoy going up against Luis Suarez, in particular Leo Messi.
Yeah, look, best players in the world. Messi is the best player potentially to ever play this game. So, when you get the chance to go up and play against these players, then you want to come out as good as you can do. Unfortunately, it ended in injury for me. The 4-0 at home was an unbelievable night, a night that none of us will ever forget. But also one a big worry for me. I never slept that night because obviously the job was done, and then automatically your mind turns to the final. And I thought, there's a chance I could miss it here. Luckily everything was okay and I could play in the final. So I was so relieved when that happened. But that night will be remembered for a long, long time. In years to come, it'll be nice to sit back and watch that and see it back. So it was an incredible night, something we'll never forget, and something the 55,000 in Anfield will never forget. I don't think either.
And then you did Spurs in the final.
Just a rush of emotion that night. You've got so many family in that stadium that you get. You think about them, you think about the people that sadly can't be with us, you think about the people back home, everything like that. And then of course, I'm very close to Jordan Henderson, and the fact to see him to lift one of the greatest trophies above his head was emotional in itself. To see him go into an elite group of Liverpool legends to lift a trophy above his head like that, it still sends shivers up the back of my neck, because we know how important he is to this squad, and how good a person he is, that to see one of your good mates lift that trophy, it was emotional. So I wish I could relive it again, because obviously the feelings that you get are so good and so raw that you can't really control it. That's what we look to recreate. That's what drove us forward this season to lift the Premier League, and hopefully in the years to come that we lift more of the feelings, and it comes a bit more, it comes more natural to us to lift these trophies, but the feelings are still the same, and that's our aim, and that's the manager's aim, and we'll be striving to do that.
Andy Robertson there. Recorded while there was a massive downpour going on here. I think you might have been able to see that in the background. We were talking about hearing from Romelu Lukaku. We'll do that very shortly, but because we've got Andrew Robertson on the show today, all the way from the Austrian Alps, here's our question that we've been asking everyone on the social. Who is the best left-back in the world right now? We've been asking for you to send in your answers, #Club2020, or on the YouTube page. For now, should we have a quick look at how people have been voting? Well, we might not see actually how they're voting. We'll catch up with the results later on. Alphonso Davies is insane, says AFC realistic, but it's not even been a year yet, so Robertson gets it for consistency. Jonesy disagrees. He says, I rate Robertson so highly, but honestly, Alphonso Davies is taking this to a whole new level right now. And JD is in a field of his own. He says, where's Kieran Tierney? Where indeed. All right, then. We'll hear Jules' thoughts later on. Right now, how about we have a second go at getting Romelu Lukaku's reaction to that Shakhtar win with Darren Curry.
I think at the minute everything's going well, but, we're still fighting. There's one more game to go. I think records are nice to be broken, but, at the end of the day, we're here to win, and, I think the team that we're going to play against are the favourites. So we just have to make sure that we prepare ourselves really well. We recover tomorrow, and then we prepare ourselves.
Yes, Sevilla next, as you say. Did you watch last night? Were you disappointed it wasn't Man United for your own personal point of view?
No, I think United tried their hardest. I think they had a really good season. I think Ole did a good job. The players there, they did really well. I think Greenwood coming through, Martial, Rashford, I expected all of that, so I'm really happy for them. They will look really good for next season, I have no doubts.
Well said and well done tonight.
Thank you.
Romelu Lukaku looking lean, looking focused there. A lot of people coming 24 hours as it did after Man United didn't go through because they couldn't take their chances. Seeing him have made the kind of connection, well, what if United hadn't got rid of him? But it's just worked out better for him at Inter. Why do you think that is, George?
I think there's a few reasons. I mean, he was already good, I thought, at United, and if you look at his non-penalties expected goals last season, it's exactly the same as this season with Inter. But he certainly has been more efficient, and I think he worked a lot in front of goals at Inter with Conte, and you could see the rewards of that. He's far more clinical maybe than he's been before. I think he's, as you said, leaner and fitter physically. He lost a bit of weight. You work harder, I think, physically in Italy than you do in England as well. And also, this is a system that works so well for him. This is a system that's built for him. And I think he also feels the trust coming from Conte that maybe was not always the case with Manchester United managers in the past.
All right.
And I think that's the difference.
And he's got that brilliant partnership with Lautaro Martinez
Exactly.
as well. Both over 20 goals this season. All right, could be that the Sevilla keeper Bono has another busy evening come Friday when they take on the Nerazzurri in the final. It'll be live, of course, on BT Sport. Well, coming up in the next 2 nights, though, it's Champions League. We're going to take a very quick break now on Club 2020 Daily, bringing you, of course, all the latest from Germany and Lisbon every day here on BT Sport from the banks of the River Lee. What a scenic locale it is. Anyway, as I say, Champions League coming up, and very shortly we're going to be talking about Leipzig and PSG, who are now 90 minutes, both of them, away from the final. Who's going to be celebrating tonight? Before we go to the break, though, here is one of Andrew Mentor's classic quick hit questions.
Now, PSG weren't always the powerhouse in Europe that they are today, but they still had some world-class players in this world-class kit. Just let me know what player springs to mind when you see this shirt. Tweet us at #Club2020.
Two goals from each of your main two strikers, 5-0 in the end. Does it feel in some ways like the perfect night for you?
Yeah, I think we played a really good game, a perfect game, and we prepared the game very well. We knew that Shakhtar was very good in ball possession, and we tried from the start to avoid to play, and we pressed them very, very high, and we have taken the risk, but at the same time they played always with a great pressure, and I think we played a really good game, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy for my players, because when you work very hard, when we stay every day to prepare the game with video analysis, with tactical session every day, and then to have this type of answer of my players is fantastic for me, and this is a great satisfaction. I repeat, against a really, really good team, strong team, because Shakhtar is a really good team.
Inter haven't won a major trophy since 2011, but I guess that's why they've brought you to the club, to change that.
Yeah, but I know very well, because it's difficult to forget the triplete, no? And Inter Milan was a fantastic team, and they won the triplete. Now, after 10 years, we have the possibility to lift a trophy. As I said before, this is a great satisfaction for me, for my players. We want to try to give this satisfaction to our fans, but I think we have to deserve to lift the trophy. We have to play against a strong team. Sevilla has great experience in this competition. They know very well this competition. We have players, a lot of players that they are playing for the first time this competition, and for this reason we have to pay great attention. But at the same time, we have enthusiasm, we have strength, and we want to give satisfaction to our fans, and we'll try to do this.
Two goals from each of your main two strikers, 5-0 in the end. Does it feel in some ways like the perfect night for you?
Yeah, I think we played a really good game, a perfect game, and we prepared the game very well. We knew that Shakhtar was very good in ball.
Welcome back, everybody. Club 2020 Daily. If you like top European tournament action and views with a little bit of East London scenes, then this is very much the show for you. Glorious Stratford, so very, very scenic. Loads of that European stuff that I was talking about coming up in the next few days. We've got the Champions League semis over tonight and tomorrow. Leipzig and PSG go today. Lyon against Bayern Munich tomorrow. Friday, then, it is the Europa League final. Sunday, it's the Champions League final. Woof. And from this Friday, we've also got the finale of the female side of things. That gets going Friday afternoon, 6:30 on BT Sports 3 with Atletico against Barcelona, the final 8. And then on Saturday, 2 games. Arsenal against PSG from 6:30 on BT Sport 1. Lyon against Bayern Munich. Lyon, the holders, of course, on BT Sport 2. Excellent. We, of course, are looking forward to tonight's Men's Champions League semi-final between Leipzig and PSG. And Andrew Mensah was holding up a PSG shirt from back in the day, round about the time they last got to a semi-final, mid-90s, before the break. Oh, look, there you can see, that's the team.
So that's the team the following season, 95-96, that won the Cup Winners' Cup.
Ah, nice.
And the one the season before with Ginola and George Weah, 94-95, lost to AC Milan in the semi-final of the Champions League.
Right, well, the question was that Andrew was asking is, who does that shirt make you think of? Adam says, Patrice Loco. And Peter says, I remember Anelka in that shirt. And you remember correctly.
Yes.
Jules, you've got PSG shirts. You've got PSG paraphernalia in your PSG room at home. Who's the PSG player that the shirt makes you think of most?
Oh, it has to be Rai. I was privileged enough and honoured to have been chosen by the club amongst other people to vote for, because it was the 50th anniversary, to vote for the best player in the history of the club,
right,
and the best team, etc., etc. And I picked Rai because I think that he changed the club. You see him there standing up next to Bruno and Gotti on that photo. He changed I think the whole where this club was being seen, the club was playing. He had so much class, so much talent and elegance. He was brilliant.
So many stars they've had there. George Weah, Ronaldinho, and of course 1 or 2 big names these days, Mbappe and Neymar, among to name but 2. Well, they're going to be in action this evening in the Champions League semi-final. 1 of 2 French sides in the semi-finals. French papers, we referenced this a little bit before the excitement over tonight's game. L'Equipe, the big sports paper. What does that say, George?
He says change planet, as in get to the next planet, the top planet, which is reaching the...
Does that mean anything in French?
Yeah, of course, it's quite nice, I think. You know, go to another world.
If you're playing Super Mario World, yeah, but... OK, let's have a look at another one. Your paper, Le Parisien, Paris en route to the final. I've got that one.
Yes, on their way to the final. Maybe a bit more, well, certainly more optimistic.
Right.
Maybe a slightly arrogant as well, because I don't think it's a given that they will go through easily tonight. But they are favourites, so I guess it makes sense.
First night of these 2 Franco-Prussian clashes, France against Germany. And, of course, we've got a little bit of a German viewpoint here now. For balance, we're joined by German football expert, noted author from Süddeutsche Zeitung, and also covering the Champions League for CBS at the moment, Raphael Honigstein. Rafa, thanks for joining us.
I cannot believe that you referred to Bayern as a Prussian team.
I know you said Prussian.
Well, it's a kind of blanket German term we use wrongly. I appreciate wrongly. Rafa, we'll be talking about Leipzig, who I don't know fit into that category any better, very shortly. But we're going to start with PSG. Sorry about this. Jules, you've come so close so many times, and you've had this kind of European monkey on your backs. It looked like it was going to strike again against Atalanta. You were so close to going out.
So close indeed, James, and then they turn it round in added time, as we see there. Atalanta caused them problems that we expected, even if I thought PSG were the better side overall in the 90 minutes, but they left it really late indeed, with the most unlikeliest of heroes, Eric Choupo-Moting, who's involved in that Marquinhos goal and then scores the winner. Great ball by Neymar for Mbappe, who made a big change as well when he came on for the last half hour. And you see how much it means to Thomas Tuchel. I think he knew that in case of a defeat he was out. And also for the players, because I think psychologically, as we said, they've been all that curse and all those disappointment, heartbreaks with the remontadas and everything else. And I think it was very special for them to finally make it to the last four.
Amazing celebration scenes there as they claim a place at last in the semi-final. Mbappe, who proved decisive coming on in that last half hour, he should start tonight?
He will start tonight. We're not sure exactly in which position and in which formation. And Angel Di Maria, who was suspended against Atalanta, is also back.
Right.
From what we've seen at training, it looks like Thomas Tuchel will play a 4-2-3-1 formation with Mbappe wide and Icardi starting up front with Neymar behind him. I have to say, I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning thinking this is not good. I don't like this. I don't like the 4-2-3-1 formation. I think that will play into the hands of Leipzig.
Right.
So wait and see, but I don't know.
How are Leipzig going to deal with the likes of Mbappe and Neymar? We saw Upamecano with such an impressive performance against Atletico. This is going to require him to step it up even further.
Yeah, I mean, he is very fast, so it's a good matchup for him. But I think the best way for Leipzig to deal with this is by keeping the ball as much as they can. I think the idea will be to ask difficult questions of PSG. They're not used to teams taking the ball off them, whether that's in Europe nor in France, and to push them back with the ball, as they did so well with Atletico. Albeit Atletico wanted to sit back, PSG don't want to, but I guess it's a sense of cutting out the supply, because once it gets into the final third with Neymar and Mbappe running at you, it's probably already too late.
One slight question mark for PSG tonight is the fact that Keylor Navas, the keeper, is out injured, which means that in his place comes Sergio Rico, the same Sergio Rico, of course, who about a year ago was getting relegated with Fulham and conceding 81 goals.
That's right, James. It's bad news for PSG because Navas has been so good this season. Rico had played a little bit in the domestic cups, in the league. He had one game in the Champions League against Galatasaray that they won 5-0. He had nothing to do. But he won the Europa League with Sevilla. He played in the Champions League with Sevilla before. He did okay in those competitions. It's not the same. But again, you'll have to trust him. There's no other choice.
Fair enough. His career does involve other things beyond getting relegated with Fulham. That's a very good point. Now, one exciting thing about these Champions League semi-finals is the fact that there are 4 clubs, 3 of whom are managed by Germans. Thomas Tuchel is one of them, and he'll be facing tonight a manager who he set on the course to greatness many, many years ago, Julian Nagelsmann, just 33 years of age, ahead of Nagelsmann's most important most important game probably of his career. He was speaking to Daryl Curry.
And that's it. It's an historic night for RB Leipzig. From formation to the semi-finals of the Champions League in 11 years is an amazing story.
When I look back, the game against Atletico, we were mentally prepared. The team were not nervous. They were well prepared. We're well prepared now again, and that's the most important topic, that we have a good plan in our mind, and the guys could do well against PSG like we did against Atletico, and I have a good feeling for tomorrow.
Your history with Thomas Tuchel is one of the big subplots of the game. So when your playing career ended at 19, what did he see in you that brought you into the coaching staff?
I've been only a player for Thomas Tuchel. At least I get money from FC Augsburg, and I need the money to finance my studies. So at the end, I get injured a lot of times in this year. So he asked me if I could analyze the next opponent. I said yes, because I need the money, not because I want to be a manager in the future. But at the end, I have fun by analyzing the next opponents. And Thomas said it's not that bad. The analyzing stuff is not that bad. So at the end, he said perhaps it's a good idea if you get injured again, and if you stop, if your playing career will stop to be a manager in the future. And at least now I'm in the Champions League semi-final, and it went in the right direction.
Yeah, I'll say that is absolutely astonishing. 13 years later, Rafa, he's in a Champions League semi-final. Some managers wait an entire lifetime and never reach one of those.
No, absolutely. But also for Tuchel, it's an amazing achievement. I mean, he was only the under-23 coach of Augsburg at the time. And that's not that long ago, 12 years ago. And then he moved to Mainz. And, of course, now they're meeting again. So it's an amazing history, amazing story of the two of them. But I think it's important to understand that Tuchel also opened the door for him in a different way, because once Tuchel succeeded as the eventual successor of Klopp at Mainz, more and more Bundesliga teams thought, you know what, maybe getting young coaches who have only, in inverted commas, under 19s experience is actually not that much of a risk. And I think Nagelsmann owes Tuchel a lot for breaking the mold in German football.
And increasingly beyond German football, we've seen so many people being hired now in the Premier League and indeed beyond. All right, so Nagelsmann, this has been his first season at RB Leipzig. It's been pretty extraordinary stuff. What has he done to them as a team? How has he got them to a Champions League semi-final?
Well, I think there are two aspects to his work. On the tactical side of view, he had already a strong side set up along the RB Leipzig principles of high pressing, of energy, of young players who can run a lot, who are able to be tactically very versatile in different positions. But he added elements of a possession game that you definitely saw against Atletico, where they were so comfortable and happy to play out the back and even play through the midfield press for Atletico. And I think that symbiosis, that balance that he's brought between those two aspects have taken Leipzig to another level. I mean, they're still some way behind Bayern and Dortmund domestically, but their progress in the Champions League shows you that in absolute terms, they're coming much further and they're getting closer to those two and getting very close to what would be, of course, an unbelievable realization of a dream if they can make it all the way in the Champions League.
Absolutely. They look so impressive, of course, earlier on in the competition when they beat Spurs 4-0 on aggregate. But I think coming into this final eight, a lot of people were saying, well, that was when they had Timo Werner. Seriously, what are they going to be able to do against the biggest clubs in Europe? So far, so good, Rafa.
So far, so good, although the consensus in Germany is that Timo Werner will be more missed against PSG, possibly. And that is because PSG, of course, with their attacking game, leaving perhaps more space that otherwise could be exploited by Leipzig on the counter-attack. They don't really have a counter-attack striker on the bench, certainly not the same quality as Werner. Ademola Lookman would be sort of the closest fit, but he's been in and out of the team and perhaps won't start. So not such a big deal against Atletico, but tonight could be the night where they really would have loved to have him on the pitch.
Rafa, we had you here in the studio ahead of the Atletico game, and you said you weren't sure who viewers in Germany would actually be supporting for the match. So much is the kind of antipathy towards RB Leipzig because of the fact that they've had this kind of almost artificial rise backed by Red Bull's money. Is that still the case now that they've reached the semi-final?
I think there's a difference between hardcore fans of football who have their own team and who look at Leipzig, as you said, as an artificial construct, as something dreamt up by a marketing department of a soft drinks company that violates all the principles and the traditions of German football. But there's also lots of casual people, casual viewers, who just enjoy the good football that is being played and don't have such a big deal with the ideological background or problems that the RB Leipzig project presents. So I think that relations or attitudes towards the team are a lot warmer than they are to the club. And I think there's a difference emerging there.
OK, well, they are in a semi-final against PSG this evening. A chance for both teams to make history, which, of course, both clubs are kind of lacking in as it stands. But we shall see what happens. The other side of the Champions League, of course, is another French-German clash. Bayern Munich against Lyon. Briefly, Jules, any chance for Lyon against the mighty Bayern?
10% maybe, maximum. I think Bayern is a step higher than City were and Juventus were. And I think for the fairy tale to continue, they would need, again, a lot of things going there where the Lyonnais not just be good on the counter-attack or not just be good efficiently in both boxes. And I fear that's a step too high.
OK, we shall see. A little bit over 8 hours to kick off in the first of the semi-finals. So let's go now to Lisbon, where Des Kelly is with the man who's going to be calling the shots for us this evening, Darren Fletcher.
Let's go back to last year then.
History going at Anfield!
two greatest nights of football I will have been involved in. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I already know now, and I'm hoping to do this job for a lot longer, but I already know that the two greatest nights of my commentary life have been and gone.
Oh, is that it? It's all downhill for now.
That's it, because you are never, ever realistically going to get those nights repeated. It's just impossible.
History or heartbreak, it's do or die for Liverpool.
Once the first goal went in, you thought, interesting.
He scored! There's one back! Divock Origi!
Second goal, then you go, oh, here we go, this is good.
Wijnaldum! Oh, it's in!
It's like a tidal wave when that crowd gets behind them, and they were swept forward. You could feel, even a side as experienced as Barcelona, you could feel them quaking.
Wijnaldum! Oh, it's three! Liverpool are all the way back!
When Trent Alexander-Arnold takes the short corner.
Genius.
Wow. I don't think I'll ever have a feeling inside a football ground that I felt that night, because, you know, it's an old cliche, but it is such a special place to watch a European game. I was in the hotel in Amsterdam the following day, and my wife called and she said, "What do you think about tonight?" And I said, "Well, it won't be anything like last night, will it?"
Lucas Moura running through, here he is, and there's the goal back, and that's exactly what Tottenham needed.
When it went 2-2 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate, Moura gets the second one. I remember saying in the commentary then, they were singing "Don't Worry About a Thing" at half-time, and they've got plenty to worry about now.
Still not clear. Moura. Oh, it's in. They've got another one. Here's Dele Alli. Here's Lucas Moura. Oh, they did it. I cannot believe it.
I got that situation up there when the goal went in that I'd lost Jermaine.
Jermaine Jenas is speechless. And so is everyone inside this stadium.
He wasn't there. So, what a quick look.
I could hear noises. I could hear it.
He's just gone.
I can't believe it, Pep. It's unbelievable.
Glenn was there that night, and that was just perfect. You couldn't have done anything else to finish that night than sit with him, because he is Mr. Tottenham.
Not only that, he was surrounded by people buying him drinks. Spurs fans were in a place, and he had this array of pints and wine and pizza and everything. So I took a lovely photo of him with all of that around him so that he could send it to his cardiologist.
He never thought that he was going to see his football club in a Champions League final. Not like that. Not after what he'd been through. And it was just that little element of it being written in the stars. And if anybody deserved it, it was him.
And I'm so glad that I'm still around to see this, I've got to say.
Well, what an amazing week it was, and lovely that Glenn Hoddle was part of that as well, after what had been a really difficult time for him. So, you know, it's interesting because everyone's in love with the tournament structure this year, and the fact that these one-legged knockout ties just mean everybody goes for it, and you've had upsets, etc. But last year, second legs were pretty special. Jules, which was your preference out of those two, the Ajax game and the Barcelona game?
I think the Liverpool comeback is very special because it's Barcelona and it's Messi, and then they also went on and won the competition. But for Spurs to score 3 goals in 45 minutes the way they did, for Lucas Moura to score the hat-trick is really special, I think, and especially with the last kick of the game for that third goal. And I think we forget. There's a bit of luck on that second goal, but on the third goal that's coming next, the ball from Dele Alli is just one of the best assists you will ever see that he has. We say, oh, some players have eyes in the back. Well, that pass from Dele Alli, he had eyes in his back to see Lucas Moura making that run, and I think that is really, really special.
Yeah, it was just an insane, from any sport, an insane turnaround right at the end. Rafa, make the case, though, for Liverpool 4, Barcelona 0.
I just thought the magnitude of the task going into this game was such that not many people believed it, which made it extra special. I mean, Spurs' comeback, in the last minute was hugely exciting, dramatic, amazing. But for them to knock out Ajax was not such a big deal ultimately. But Liverpool to do it against Barcelona, team that had won 3-0 and a team that created chances in this game and came close to knocking Liverpool out at a couple of times because a goal would have knocked them out, was just a momentous occasion. And the atmosphere, as Darren Fletcher said, in the ground I was there, was just something that I don't think anyone will ever forget. So it has to be Liverpool.
All right, then. And, of course, this was back when Barcelona was still a name to conjure with before Bayern had completely destroyed them. My word. Well, I think one thing's for sure, tonight's and tomorrow's semi-finals have a lot to live up to, but then this competition has been full of pretty remarkable action so far, and we hope it will continue tonight. We've been asking you today, with Andrew Robertson on the show, who do you think is the best left-back in the world? Let's have a look. Oh, Andrew is currently sneaking it. I'm sure the votes will continue coming in. Andrew Robertson with 51%. Alphonso Davies on 44%. Poor old Jordi Alba on 2%. That's harsh. Julian, who gets your vote?
Robertson has to, because of the consistency of the last 3 years. Really, Alphonso Davies has done it for 8 months, and as great as he's been, he's still a left winger that they moved to left back, and I think you need to see more of him again over the next 2 or 3 years to crown him the best left back in the world when Robertson is still playing at that kind of level. OK, Rafa, you've got a sovereign wealth fund to build your own fantasy team. Who are you getting in at left back?
I would definitely get Alphonso Davies at the moment. I didn't think he would be that good that early in his career. I mean, he was still a bench player at the beginning of the season, and Bayern perhaps thought about loaning him out. But he's become the guy that not only holds on to this place, but also that no one can even think of a better player at the moment. I think Robertson is obviously amazing, but hasn't had that amazing a season by his standards, certainly the second half. So right now, if I'm in charge, and James, I'm open to offers if you have any clubs going, I'd buy Alphonso Davies.
All right. Andrew Robertson with 12 assists, by the way, in the Premier League this season.
Not very good.
Too badly. All right. Anyway, very good. Well, a quick reminder of the action we've got coming up for you on BT Sport from these fabulous European finals. Champions League tonight, and tomorrow it is Leipzig against Paris Saint-Germain tonight. And then tomorrow on BT Sport 1 and Ultimate, Lyon taking on Bayern Munich. Europa League finals on Friday. My word, Sevilla will be taking on Inter Milan. We know the finalists there. We don't know yet who's going to be in the big game, the biggest European game of all. It's live Sunday. Our coverage starts at 7. And tonight we'll find out the identity of the first of those finalists. Many, many thanks to Rafa and Julien for being with us today. Of course, Club 2020 Daily will be back with you tomorrow. But after one round of France against Germany, I can't wait to see what tonight brings.
Paris Saint-Germain, they're a step nearer the trophy that they so desperately want.
Search for the missing one.
From formation to the semi-finals of the Champions League in 11 years.
Leipzig, a wild and promising contender.
Di Maria! PSG, off and running. And Werner scores. Beautifully worked for Icardi. Beauty! Mbappe, what a devastating impact.
Leipzig, super gespielt.
Sarabia, it's Mbappe.
Le sniper argentin. Fantastisch.
Und jetzt Sabitzer,
in it goes from Neymar.
And they've done it. It's an historic night for RB Leipzig.
PSG have smashed that glass ceiling.